one key person is saying goodbye to the West Wing.
That's right. Joining us now in her last official interview as White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. Good morning to you, Karoline.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so glad you're on. How are you feeling? What are your plans?
Well, I'm feeling good. You know, of course, it's a little bit bittersweet. It's bitter because I'm leaving a job that I love so very much. And it's been the honor and blessing of a lifetime to work for this president, President Trump. There will never be another like him, and to serve as his spokesperson behind that podium. It has been the adventure of a lifetime. And I am so grateful to him for believing in me and allowing me to serve in this role over the last 20 months. And now being very understanding as a boss and a friend that it's time for me to take a step back so I can spend more time with my two beautiful children. Of course, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. They're just at a critical time in their life where they need their mom home a little bit more. So I look forward to spending more time with them, but continuing to serve the president as a top advisor on the outside. I'm grateful to him that he still wants me to stick around just in a way that I can spend more time with family. So it's been, again, just such an adventure working here with the president, with our great White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, our first female Chief of Staff in history, and all of the great people that work around the clock here every day to make our country strong and safe and secure. It's been the adventure of a lifetime.
Well, Karoline, you have mastered being able to know where the president stands on every issue. You are definitely an upgrade at the podium. I'll ask you this. Where does the president stand on my home state of Texas? I know he's heading there today for a Republican fundraiser there to help out Ken Paxton. What has been said on the ground now? Are we going to win it there?
Republicans are going to win Texas, let me tell you, and President Trump is headed to Houston tonight to host a fundraiser for the RNC to continue increasing the Republican cash advantage as we head into this election season. The president tomorrow is actually going to visit the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, with NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman, who's doing a tremendous job. And the president is going to award the Congressional Space Medal of Honor to the Artemis II crew, who, of course, had a historic feat earlier this year under this president's tenure. And he'll talk about one of his most historic accomplishments from his first term, the establishment of Space Force. So president will raise some money tonight. Tomorrow, he'll go back to the business of being president and joining the great astronauts and engineers and employees at the NASA Space Center in Houston, Texas. I know he looks forward to the trip.
And I know he sat down with Trey Gowdy. The whole interview is going to air on Sunday. But here's a clip on the president talking about the midterms.
There's a theory that I get the vote. You know, I see it all the time, that when Trump's on the ballot, they win. When he's not on the ballot, the people don't go to vote. And I'm asking the people through your brilliant show, #1 show, I'm asking the people to get out and vote, pretend I'm on the ballot. If they go out and vote, we're going to win. And if we don't, our country's going to be in sad shape because we're going to go through a lot of things.
And part of that, Karoline, is winning is spending, too. The president's got this award chest, which he earned every cent of it by doing an endless amount of fundraisers. How much is he looking to spend in Texas to try to save Ken Paxton?
Well, I don't have an exact dollar figure for you. I still am a government employee here at the White House today, but I to spend money to ensure Republicans get over the finish line. I also know he's going to be out there traversing the country, meeting with everyday Americans and campaigning on behalf of the great Republican candidates across the board. What your audience needs to remember is what this president and Republicans in Congress have done. The largest middle-class tax cuts in American history. No tax on tips for our workers, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors. That's putting more money in your pockets today. And Democrats voted against every single one of those policies. So they want to talk about affordability. They voted to raise your taxes. They voted against the largest middle-class tax cuts in American history. Look at our border. The president inherited a mess, a wide-open border from the Democrats and the Biden administration. He sealed it on day one. We are deporting violent, illegal alien criminals from this country. The Democrats are complete radicals on this issue. They want to open our prisons, abolish our police, and keep our borders wide open to countries and criminals all over this world. So there's a huge contrast on the ballot, and you're going to continue to hear the president drive that contrast and travel across the country.
So, Karoline, we're still in the middle of this conflict with Iran. What is the latest on the ground? How are the negotiations? It looks like it's maximum pressure economically there. Could we see a return, though, to combat operations?
Well, right now we're focused on Operation Economic Outcast, which Secretary Bessent announced this week, crippling sanctions on the Iranian regime and their economy, which we already know is in free fall. They are in a devastating place. Inflation is over 100%. They can't pay their police. They can't pay their military. They're in a very weakened position already. And now Secretary Bessent and the president are continuing to pull every economic lever. And of course, this follows Operation Epic Fury, which was hugely successful in diminishing the Iranian regime's military, completely wiping out their Navy, their Air Force, and really crippling their military infrastructure. What President Trump's #1 goal has been and will always be is to ensure that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon, period. And so we've had Operation Epic Fury to destroy their military. Now we have Operation Economic Outcast to destroy their economy. No negotiations are happening right now, and this will continue until the president feels that maybe they come to the table in a meaningful way. We have not seen that yet, but of course, that's at the discretion of the president. As commander-in-chief, he of course continues to retain all options on the table, and the naval blockade continues to be in effect as well, which has proven hugely successful. The United States is essentially controlling the Strait of Hormuz, which remains open thanks to President Trump and the United States military.
This morning when we woke up, we saw that, or actually yesterday, that devastating the waters running through Nepal. We have a lot of Americans there. 65 are missing, 65 Americans. And I know that Marco Rubio said the U.S. State Department's ready to provide emergency humanitarian assistance. How will we be involved in this? What can we do?
Yes, well, I spoke to the State Department this morning, and they have rescued a handful of Americans, and we will continue to do that. The U.S. Embassy in Nepal is in close contact with local authorities on the ground, and of course, the Secretary himself is closely monitoring this. I spoke to him about it yesterday. We've offered our help and our assistance, but of course, the first priority for this president and for Secretary Rubio will always be Americans, and so we're focused on rescuing every American that we possibly can. We're already, of course, doing that, as I said. We've rescued a handful thus far, and that effort will continue.
So I want to talk about data centers, one of the hottest political issues that caught many people by surprise in the midterm elections. You have even Republican governors putting a pause on this. The President of the United States is firmly backing data centers. What is the message for those people who want to win the AI race, but yet are concerned about the data centers in their neighborhood?
Well, what President Trump said recently when gaggling, I think it was on Air Force One when we were headed to South Carolina, he said that each candidate across the board needs to listen to the constituents in their community and speak on this with respect to what their constituents in their community wants. If a community wants a data center to be built, President Trump and Republicans believe that is a good thing for that community. It's going to bring jobs. Thanks to the president, he has signed a historic ratepayer protection pledge with all of these AI companies and data companies that they are going to pick up the bill for the electricity that is built in these communities so that the everyday Americans living there will not have to foot the bill and front the cost. That's, again, a historic, noble agreement that only this president could think of and then implement. And so we already have that in place. And the president and Republicans want to leave it up to to Americans in these communities. If they want a data center built, the president believes that's a good thing. We can't lose this race to China and to our competitors across the board. America must remain dominant in the AI race. It is the future. I think the American people understand that, and this president certainly does.
100%. Karoline, so this is your final day, and we wanted to take a moment to reflect and go down memory lane. Here's from the first day of you being at the podium. Let's watch.
We expect you to cover that, as you should, Caitlin, but you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad. You're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question.
And so if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. My first reaction when seeing former President Biden was speaking tonight was, I'm shocked that he is speaking at nighttime. I have thought his bedtime was much earlier.
There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back.
It's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country. I gave a quote to one of the media outlets in this room yesterday that Democrats behaving like children would be the least surprising thing of the night. And unfortunately, that quote did turn out to be true. He looks forward to watching the game tonight, and we look forward to the United States beating our soon-to-be 51st state, Canada.
What do you think, Karoline?
Oh man, good times, great memories. There's nothing like stepping before that podium, and I'll just tell you, I'm so grateful to the president for believing in me and giving me the chance to do it. So many people told him when he was considering me for this job, after of course I worked for him on his historic 2024 campaign, that I was too young, and he ignored all the doubters and he gave me a chance, and I am forever grateful to him for that. He is not only the best president our nation has ever had, but he is the best boss. And I'm just so grateful that he understands my decision to leave this amazing job, but to spend more time with my kids and just love him. There will never be another like him, that's for sure.
Oh, well, Karoline, we are so happy for you. You've done a great job. You're the youngest press secretary ever, so you made history and you handled it with grace. Karoline, we do have a special guest. We want to bring in someone that knows what you're going through. We have our very own Dana Perino, who was press secretary under George W. Bush, and she joins us now. Good morning to you, Dana.
Good morning. Good morning, Karoline.
Morning.
Hi, Dana.
Dana, I know you have said that all eyes now turn right after the midterms to the general election, and many of the White House reporters will now go on the campaign trail. So what is the challenge for the next press secretary after the midterms?
Well, I think just looking at that montage of Karoline, it's hard to explain, unless you've been in the job, it's hard to explain what it's like. But you just ran her through an interview where she could talk about any issue very fluently. You have to be, a mile wide and a mile deep on all of the issues. You also have to have the complete trust of the press, the president, and your colleagues. And then what happens when the midterms finish on November 3rd is that it's just inevitable. It's not a knock against anybody. It's just the natural way things are. The media and the public starts thinking about who's next, and they start looking over that shoulder to see who it is. You already see it in a lot of ways. So those last 2 years of any second term are very challenging for any president because, one, the attention starts to turn there. You still have a big job to do. Now, with President Trump, he'll still be able to command a lot of attention. As Karoline said, there will never be another like him. And I think that one thing that she showed is that if you had a question for Karoline about the president or the government, and you went to her and she told you the answer, you could take it to the bank because she had the access to the president and the trust of the president. And more importantly, too, I think, the trust of your colleagues. You have to be the person who can fairly represent everything that's coming in. And at her young age, to have that kind of poise, grace, wit, and grit is incredible. But also, when she's not on camera, the self-deprecation is adorable. I think that one time she told me that her older brothers are the ones that kept her grounded, and they don't think of her as press secretary. They think of her as a little sister. I kind of think of her as a little sister, too, and I'm so excited for your future, Karoline.
Thank you, Dana. That's so nice. Dana's the best. She's a great mentor, great friend. She's also someone you can text at 5 a.m. and she always answers you. I will just, I can personally attest to that. She's always up bright and early, just like me. Thank you, Dana.
Right. Good luck to you and your children, and of course, Nick as well.
Thank you.
And Dana, of course, we know your show's coming up, America's Newsroom, at the top of the hour. We'll be watching every minute.
Thank you.
And Karoline, my last question. What are you going to miss most?
Oh, man. I mean, I'll miss it all. Definitely being behind the podium. But of course, as I said, I'll continue to serve the president just on the outside, and we'll continue to fight for him and Republicans across the board and cheer him on every step of the way over the next 2 years, and hope he'll still let me on Air Force One from time to time to travel with him across the country, too, just as a friend now. But of course, I'm gonna miss this job. I mean, it is the job of a lifetime. And again, I'm just so grateful for it all. And it's a bittersweet day here, but there's still work to be done. So I got to go back to my office, and he'll be working me till the very last minute today. That I know.
Did you give him a recommendation on who he should pick to replace you?
Well, of course, we've spoken about it. One thing I'll say is there's no shortage of applications. There's a lot of people who want this job, a lot of capable people who want this job, and I've given my advice to the president on what he should look for, and I'll continue to do that until he makes a decision. Ultimately, it has to be his decision to make. Press secretary and the president, you spend a lot of time together. It has to be someone he trusts fully, and I know he'll make the right decision at the right time, and I'll be here to help him if he continues to want me to do so.
Well, Karoline, you did a fantastic job. We look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks, Karoline.
Thank
More
you,
Fox and
guys.
Friends coming up.